I'm Shane.
I'm Bo.
We are your Kentucky Fried Critics.
We had another one.
That's right.
This is 30, right?
This is
my
30
nice,
this time.
pretty
This is
round number.
Even
Yay.
number now. We made it.
I'm happy. It's going to get ruined next week. It's going to go back to an odd number.
Yeah.
It's a constant back and forth with me.
You were just worried that we would be able to get here, and we know we'll still get to the next one because, like I said, we still have beer already ready to go.
It's
in
Kentucky
line.
Fried Vault.
Yeah, it's ready for us. The non-issue for
I declare that the official name of where we put the beer.
Sounds good.
The Kentucky Fried Vault.
So we're going to go ahead and get the socials out of the way so we can just get into the movie, try to get things on a roll.
On a roll,
Just
let's go.
The first three are always just the meta apps. They're all together. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, which is still just, again, it's a placeholder.
It's new still, right?
If you guys, in today's high-tech world, it's all a little bit different though, right? Like, 3 months is like an eternity sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Some things already fold in 3 months.
Yeah, my computer's already obsolete.
It still exists. It's there. If people want me to use it more, they can try to interact with me there.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I'll be like, oh,
maybe it is a real thing.
yeah, we should use it. But either way, if you want to find us on any of the meta apps like that, it's all going to be Kentucky Fried Critics. No spacing, no anything. That's going to be a / or an @ whatever that website or app uses.
Whatever their code is, @ / hashtag.
Those ones definitely
sign.
are just slashes or ats, I'm pretty sure. So we're okay there.
All right, well, that's good then.
Which kind of technically leads us into the next one, which is YouTube, because it's the only one that decides to use a / and an @
They couldn't decide.
Yeah. It's strange.
They flipped the coin, it landed on edge. They went, fuck it, do both.
And so, of course, if you want to find us YouTube, that's going to be youtube.com / @KFC.
Riddics. Power to the Riddics.
So again, that one's different, but we've embraced the difference at this point.
Yeah, we made it fun, so now we kind of love it, and it's ours now. They can't take it from us.
At some point, maybe we'll still do the other one, but if we do that, I think maybe I'll try to see if there's a way we can have both of them.
I'm cool with that. We can do like bloopers on one or something.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that because we have a bunch of those.
But until then, it's just going to stay our KFC Riddics.
I like it.
Don't forget, if you guys want to try to help us come up with some lore.
Yeah. What is a Riddick? Tell me.
Send that our way.
I will read the whole thing. I'm bored at night.
Might even just read it on the episode.
Oh, yeah, dude. We'd do that if it's really fun.
Well, and again, we're trying to get someone to maybe draw us a Riddick. If someone wants to send us the lore, we could read that
And
to
then
help inspire somebody.
Inspire the drawing. Oh, it'd be so fucking cool.
Yeah. So leaving that one, though, that takes us to our actual website. The website just, again, it hosts all the episodes if you want to download them.
I'm going to try and be deep breaths. Calm. All right, go.
It also has these links to all the places I've already mentioned. And so if you want to find the website, it's just going to be shows.acast.com / Kentucky-Fried-Critics.
I'm good. I handled that well.
You did. Minus the interruption, but again, I'll let it slide.
I had to breathe. I felt it coming.
Maybe next time you don't have to announce it.
The therapy is working.
After that only leaves our email, the original, the OG, the one where, again, it's more like a suggestion box. It's the best place to send ideas
for
thoughts,
beers, movies, anything pop culture related. Really, if you got a random obscure TV show that you have a drink to want to go with, send it.
Obviously, we do more movies than anything, but it's because it is still easier.
Yeah, there's 9 million movies to choose from.
And TV shows would...
we have to watch more.
It takes a lot more.
We'd at least have to watch 4 or 5 episodes.
At the very least, again, like the longer the series, we have to decide how we're going to tackle it.
We
there's
just
a whole
do like the first season, or
try
and watch, get like an idea of the entire show,
right? Because even if we do that, you know how we talk. That would be a long episode.
Our first 6-hour episode.
It would be intense for sure.
That's a live stream, really.
Something
for like charity. We're going to talk about Star Trek until we're hitting that number.
Oh, dude, that one would have to be broken to like 100 parts.
100 parts
for us not to go blue in the face and like bore people to death. We would be entertained.
Yeah, we would be having a great time. I don't know what everybody else's problem is.
We've gone off a little bit.
It's all my
fault. I'm not even sure if I told you guys what the email was. We went so far off. So.
It's my fault. I started early today, guys.
So the email, again, just make sure that's going to be KentuckyFriedCritics@gmail.com. So it's an easy one to find, guys. Well, we won't put this off any further because obviously Bo's already been trying to derail us a little bit going.
I'm already having a good time, man.
So we need to get into things.
Yeah, before I have too much of a good time.
So again, what were we drinking this week?
We are drinking High Wire Brewing Company's Strongman Coffee Milk Stout.
All right.
Dark and roasty. They're not lying, dude.
It's definitely...
It is dark. It is roasty. It smelled like coffee as soon as we opened the can. And it was like, ooh, Folgers.
Again, we'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth
analysis at the end.
I guess analysis is the word, but we'll definitely tell you a little bit more.
We'll analyze the crap out of it at the end.
What's the movie?
The movie is Hercules in New York.
Starring our strongman.
The strongman, in my opinion. This is Arnie's movie. This is
his first
one. He was so baby-faced and barely spoke English.
Oh, yeah. No, his accent is thick. It's one of the things I've got down here is like...
It's my first note. That accent is thick.
Yeah. So before we even get to the movie, we'll just say that. But yeah, it's so thick that the original release of the movie was a dub because they were just like, nobody's
going to be able to understand what you're saying.
I've seen it once when I was a kid. This is a very Mystery Science Theater movie. I watched it on Mystery Science Theater, and I'm pretty sure it was the dub.
That's where we all saw it.
And so I'm pretty sure it was the dub. But that being said, I couldn't tell you how many years ago it was that I watched this.
I couldn't even remember what the voice sounded like because it's like, well, it's Arnie. You can watch it now because we're all so used to him talking. You're like, oh, I know what you're saying.
Well, yeah, no, and I can hear it and totally, like, most of the time I'm just like, it's not even that bad.
Yeah, it's not even that bad, but it's a little thick.
Like, you guys put him in major motion pictures as the main character way later, and it wasn't that much better in some of them.
That's why he barely has any lines in the first Conan movies, because his accent's so thick. They're like, no one will be able to understand you, but you're supposed to be like this barbarian guy, so it's fine.
Unfortunately, that's not so true in this one, because yes, he is a Greek god, demigod, but all of the other Greek gods speak perfect English.
Yep, totally fine. They vary in British, Australian, and American accents, but it's
still
fine.
Perfect English.
Yeah.
Not so much. Yeah.
You can tell there's parts of his dialogue that he's like, I don't know what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna spit it out phonetically.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie where he is fresh off of just only doing strongman competitions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he just won like his second Mr. Olympia or something. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we should make him Hercules.
Well,
I mean, yeah, look at him.
He definitely, he looks the part.
He has the screen presence too. Like when he doesn't have to talk and he's just doing like stuff on screen and stuff. It's like
the charisma.
I would have cast him too. I don't care if he talked. He could be a mute. I'd put him in my movies.
Before we really get into the movie, we like to go ahead and tell you some of the people in the movie. This is easy this time.
Yeah.
Again, I know I'm probably insulting someone because you always will. Yeah, anytime you try to gloss over some person, somebody knows that person.
Everyone's contributions to this film was valid, and we thank you.
Now, that being said, the mass audience is only going to know two people, and that's going to be Arnold.
Yep, obviously.
And then also Arnold.
Yeah, there's two Arnolds in this movie. It was a little confusing in the credits.
So it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
he's Hercules.
Arnold Strong in the credits. Did you see that?
Because that's what his name was for the Mr. Universe contest.
Because nobody could pronounce Schwarzenegger back in the 60s.
And then the other person is our other main character, Arnold Stang.
Got to get that Stang on, right?
He plays Pretzi. Who is a pretzel vendor.
He's I do know that. I'd love a pretzel vendor to be my friend.
Well, because they say that's his nickname, and then we never hear a real name, though, right? Like, he's like, they call me Pretzi because of the pretzels.
That's it. That's all you get.
And that's all we need to know.
That's all he needs.
But Arnold Stang, again, we didn't tell you everything about the other Arnold, because I do believe... You know.
You've seen at least one.
We don't need to go over his extensive career, both in and out of movies. So we'll just leave him at him.
Yeah.
But if you
don't know Arnold Schwarzenegger, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. The other Arnold Stang, though, he is best known as the voice of Top Cat from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Nice.
And I mean the entire run. Yeah, those are the only people, though. Arnold Stang's been in other things. He's what would normally maybe be one of those guys.
I've seen him in other Mystery Science Theater movies.
Yeah, and he was in like a ton of TV shows around the like mid 70s to the 80s. So again, like he was in a lot of things, not necessarily the things that we saw all the time, but we might have seen in passing because they were just still on reruns and stuff on
when
TV.
you're just flipping channels at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, but that's it. There is not a single other person in this movie.
Some of them don't even have pictures in IMDb.
Most of them don't even have pictures.
That's how you know when you don't even have a picture.
I guess the one other person we can mention for sure is Monstro, the guy that he goes up against.
The other strongman guy,
because he was Mr. World at the time when when Arnold was Mr. Universe, he was Mr. World. This movie came out in 69, 70. It depends on where you look.
Mine said 69, so
IMDb says 70.
Maybe it was filmed in 69, came out in 70.
Well, I think it might have been filmed in 68, 69. I would imagine the 69, 70 is US versus international release dates.
Probably.
So I don't know which one uses what. That's really it. There's not anybody else. There's not those guys.
No,
there's not.
Unfortunately, there's none of those guys.
There's none of that going on here. So we'll just
let's just roll right into it with our epic voiceover about the gods living upon Mount Olympus.
It is epic. Now, here's my thing. Did you notice they refer to it not as ancient Greece, but antique Greece?
Antique Greece?
Not even like,
that.
If it would have said antiquity, I would have even been okay with that. Antique.
Antique Greece is completely wrong.
It's a weird choice of word. Someone pulled out their thesaurus and they didn't do their due diligence.
They didn't know how English worked. It should have been Greek antiquity.
Oh, so you're saying Arnold did it?
Yeah, probably. He's like, no, I want to do this. I will write the voiceover for the beginning of this. This will be fantastic.
That is what I'll tell you.
That's with his Austrian to English dictionary.
Because that's the first thing that you'll notice as soon as you get past the narration is Arnold's accent.
Yep.
Because it's the first thing you hear. Narration just sets up to us that it's Mount Olympus, it's current day, but the narration technically didn't tell us that, right?
Not really. There's just like a mention of like it's thousands of years they've lived here. It's like, all right, they're not really giving me a time frame.
Yeah, but since the gods were immortal, that doesn't give me any
doesn't
clue
narrow it down at all.
So we don't know. We've not seen the outside world yet. But the first thing we see after it says that is, it tells us that some of the gods want to live elsewhere.
Yeah, and one of them is Hercules.
And it is literally just Arnold and his horrible accent.
I love his first line. As soon as he does his first line, I'm like, yay, this is going to be a great movie.
Now that we have mentioned it, we will try to move past his accent. We'll just address the movie from this point on. But just know when you come in, it's a ride.
If you thought Arnold's accent was bad, watch this movie.
Yeah, you'll see how much he cleared it up. Yeah, so essentially, though, we see Herc, and Herc is just whining his daddy.
Whining at Zeus.
He's like
to leave.
But my brother got to leave.
You let Mars go. That was my other problem. They're supposed to be Greek gods. Why do every other god have a Roman god name?
I can answer this easily for you.
Does the writer just not know?
No, it's not even that. It's just that nobody likes Hercules.
Nobody likes Hercules?
Yeah. And so for a long time, regardless of how things would go, you would get this weird amalgamation of just picking the names that people like the sound of the best.
Aphrodite does have a lot of syllables.
Think about it, though. It's not even just that, though, right? We still got Zeus.
Yeah, we still had Zeus.
But the rest of them, it's Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury, Juno, Venus, somebody else. There was another girl there. I don't think she ever talked. The one in like the kind of purple dress. Did she ever say anything? No.
Yeah, so it is a weird mix up, but that was just kind of the way it was done at the time. That's not even this movie, though. That's just
a product of film at the time.
Hercules is definitely that way. No matter how you hear the rest of the people's names, you're almost always in media going to hear Hercules. Heracles just doesn't go over as well. People don't do it.
I didn't know about it until I was way later in life. I was like, who the hell is Heracles? Oh, it's the same guy. That's weird.
Yeah, Zeus basically just says, you got to deal with it.
Yeah, suck it up. You have to stay here. You're not allowed to. Hercules is just like, but I want to go. Nobody's going to stop me.
And they kind of fight in the weirdest way.
They're just going to walk around the fucking fountain, just kind of yelling at each other while the credits are going over.
Yeah. Well, in the credits, can we get that? So again, everybody knows I love the song intros, whether it's the very first thing like it should be, or it's like
this weird cold open we got. It was weird
and long, kind of a long cold open. But again, this is just the arrow too, because this is credits in the beginning of the movie, not at the end. That being said, it is also usually credits at the very beginning of the movie, not credits 5 minutes into the movie.
Should have done the voiceover, then the credits.
They could have been rolling the credits during the voiceover.
They really could have.
What would it have mattered?
I'm just saying, time machine. Call the doctor. It's fine.
But the music, get
used to this song.
Everybody knows that I love the music, and the music that this movie kicks off with when we finally get there is so strange. It's like Italian minstrel music or something.
Something like that. Greek folk music. It's
don't
got that
know.
Weird little like Italian banjo thing.
It definitely feels very Italian to me. I felt like I had been teleported to a 1995 Fazoli's, and this was just the music playing in the background. It was very strange. And not only is it strange here, it's the only song
It's the
in the
only
movie.
music in the movie, I think.
It's just like it's like one of those 10-minute orchestral songs.
Yeah.
And they're just clipping different parts of the 10-minute
like,
song.
we'll put this in this scene. Or clip another 30 seconds. We'll throw it on that scene. It's fine.
And so I hope you like it, because if you don't, you're really not going to like the rest of the movie.
If you listen from the beginning of the movie to the end, you get the whole song.
Maybe not in order, though. That might be the problem.
That would have been way too much thought trying to do it that way. But no, I'm sure either the whole song is just split up throughout the movie somehow.
As soon as the credits are finished and our song wraps up, we instantly get Venus talking to Zeus, trying to plead on Hercules' behalf. And I want to say right now, her accent's a little thick.
Yeah, a little bit.
She starts to talk, and I was like, whoa.
What'd you say? I had to put subtitles on.
I was like, so Arnold's not the only one choking on some words in this movie. Got it.
Oh, there's a few just outright scenes where people just mess up and they just keep going.
Yeah, this movie did not care. And I mean, there's even one where Arnold clearly, it's in my notes. I'll definitely mention it.
He messed it up.
He clearly does it, but he even does it in a way they could have edited off what was wrong, because he completely started after he messed up and it was perfect and they left it in. And I was like,
why would
you
do
could have
that?
clipped that off?
They didn't have the budget.
Back then clip. It was literally
scissors were expensive, man. They just broke. They didn't have another pair. They just kind of had to tape it. This is a cheap movie, is all I'm saying.
It is. I'm not arguing that. But yeah, so Venus pleads on Hercules' behalf. Zeus still doesn't care.
And Herc tells her to shut up.
Exactly.
He's like, mind your own business, Venus. Well, it's like, she was helping you, dude.
Well, and the funny part during this is the conversation is all about how it's weird that this half mortal would talk like that, right? And I'm like, whatever. It's weird that even if he was your full-blooded god, he's still your son, and he is literally talking to you like, whatever,
Dad.
Fuck you.
You suck. You're not my real dad, are you?
Suck it, old man.
You're just my half dad.
It's a very awkward conversation, though, and it just keeps going.
Yeah,
like, Zeus is trying to walk away.
He is. He's like, I'm done with this. You're staying here. Fucking drop it. And Hercules is just like, nobody tells me what to do.
Herc won't drop it. And then Zeus is like, fine then.
Fine, fuck you.
He turns around and he launches, no shit you, a metal spear.
This is just rebar that they've painted silver and bent into a lightning bolt. And he chucks it at Arnold.
It definitely hit him, but then they throw the explosion and smoke screen on the screen, so you can't tell.
Yeah, it's fine. He drops through Mount Olympus and falls to Earth, I guess.
But I just don't want to move away from the metallic explosive spears too quickly, because this is such an
they're supposed to be
I know what they're supposed to be.
I'm laughing
They
too
don't
hard.
look like it.
Oh my god.
They literally look like
literally rebar. You can tell. And just welded a fucking arrow point onto the tip of it.
And it might as well be attached to a grenade.
Yeah,
because again, that's the effect that they have. It doesn't look like lightning. It doesn't sound like thunder. It explodes. It is an explosion on a metal spear.
And it destroys the little bench thing right there.
Yeah, wherever they were filming, dude, they messed that little spot.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, you're right. As soon as it's done, this apparently magically teleported him into the sky, and now he's falling.
He falls right past an airplane. Waves at the old lady going woman, down. She flips out.
She's like, I see a naked man.
I saw a naked man.
He's falling through the sky right now.
And they're all trying to be like, no, it's okay. And they put the mask on her, and her friend's just like, I shouldn't have took her to see those statues.
I know. I thought that was so crazy. Like, she got the flight attendants to drop the oxygen mask out of nowhere without even a second guess. They were just like, oh yeah,
yeah, here you go. This is exactly what you need. I didn't know you could just do that. You can't. I didn't think so.
I mean, there is probably a button that does it, but I mean, you can't just request them to do it. You can't just be like, I'm having a bit of a panic attack. Can you?
I need to get off the ship.
But that is definitely what they do. It's so crazy.
I like that old lady. She's funny.
then he hits the water
and gets
picked up by a. This is
freighter?
weird.
I don't know.
It's supposed to be like a merchant marine, right?
Yeah,
or
something like that.
But the dude who's the captain is taking it, the marine part of merchant marine,
a little too seriously.
Because he's, again, it's a freighter. You can tell. Like, they're doing work.
We're civilians here, man.
Yeah, it's not a military ship. But he is rocking the white captain hat.
He's got the corn cob.
You better
pipe
call
like
me sir.
Like he's fucking MacArthur or something.
I'm the captain. You better call me sir.
It's sir.
And it's like,
I'm Hercules.
He totally rocks that moment. He's like, well, what's your last name? He goes, no, I am Hercules. And I was like, he should have just hit him with the, like, Cher.
Yeah.
I have one name.
I have one name.
He finally convinces them that they can just call him Hercules. But I will point out, he keeps saying son of Zeus, right?
Yep.
With his thick ass accent, I'm surprised that they didn't again.
Son of Zeus.
They didn't.
Oh,
think
your
that
name's
was
Hercules, son of Zeus.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, that's a good name. It's weird, but you're Greek,
right? Because he tells them that they're like, "Where are you from?"
Greece.
I am Greek.
And they're like, "What ship are you on?" He's like, where'd you fall in the water from? The Olympus.
And the guy goes,
"Oh, there's a boat from the Greek Isles that's called that," and stuff. It's like, oh, that all conveniently lined up, didn't it?
But then as soon as this moment is over, you're like, okay, everything's fine. They're gonna let him on the ship. We just cut to outside, and he is fighting everybody,
beating everyone's
no
ass.
Explanation.
I like the sound effect though. It's literally just somebody clapping into a microphone every time he throws a punch.
Well, again, it's just so outrageous because he literally takes on the whole crew, ship, and we don't get an explanation for why this is happening until after it's done. Yeah, so it's like 5 minutes.
He's beat everyone's ass.
5-minute fight.
Yeah, it goes on for a little while.
Just for us to finally wrap up and us to hear that they were trying to get him to work.
Yep, Hercules doesn't work, man. It's not how this works.
That's fair.
I mean, you gonna tell that big motherfucker to go do something?
No.
Nope, not me. No, you just sit there. It's fine. Get off the boat when we dock.
The captain asked, he said, why were you fighting him? He's most disagreeable, and he has irritated me. So deadpan.
I did not understand it. I had to go put the subtitles on because it was just the...
He was so deadpan. Again, this is one of those moments where...
Dead-eyed, stone-faced.
I know I said we'd move past... We're not making fun anymore. This is just a very astute observation by both of us. When he goes deadpan, you can tell that he is delivering words he doesn't know. So he did not understand, probably disagreeable is a very large word for someone new to English.
Yeah,
you wouldn't, even though it is pieced together.
It's a hard
word.
Phrasing for somebody too. I found him disagreeable. It's probably hard to fucking say for them.
And so I get it, but you can definitely see, like you said, he glosses over in the eyes.
I have to remember how this sounds.
So he has no idea what the words mean. He didn't even read it. Someone probably said it to him.
Fifth take, right?
Right. Like someone said it to him. And he's just trying to mimic the sound.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly like what happened.
Just know when you're watching the movie that you can totally tell when you get to words he didn't know.
Yeah, when he's doing like action shots and like moving around and stuff, he's really good.
He's a good actor.
Has to talk.
He's a good actor. He just wasn't. He couldn't speak English yet.
We should have.
It's not his fault.
Should have put him in a role where he could speak Austrian.
Then we finally see the boat arrives. It's at New York.
Yep, there it is.
He sees it and he's like, "All right, time to get off the boat.
Get the fuck out of here."
They're trying to stop him. He says, whatever.
Get out of my fucking way.
He moves the giant barricade.
Yep, just picks it up, moves it out of the way.
Climbs down off the boat on the gang.
That stupid guy, he looks over at the other dockhand guys. He's like, $20 to the first dude who lays him out.
Well, I don't even know if they were supposed to be other dockhands. They were just...
drinking around a fire barrel. They might have been homeless.
Right, again, dude, like, it's the shipyards in the 70s in New York.
That's why they worked. That's why they only did it for $20. $20, I'm not charging that big-ass dude.
They all ran.
Like a 10-minute fight.
Well, it was, and it should have been over in 2 seconds because he even starts it. That's my notes. He starts it this time, and it really shows off his like cunning and intellect because he starts it by picking up the board,
giant board,
and taking all of them out at one time.
Right, and it's a big pushing contest.
He should have just straight into the water.
He got a couple of them.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like he takes out the group.
He takes them all out,
and then he walks on his way, but catches the eye
of Pretzi,
our pretzel vendor,
my favorite character.
He's a cool dude. dude.
Stang.
He's a cool guy.
He is.
I do like
I like his hat and his glasses, his little pretzel basket.
Pretzi grabs him and says, let's go.
We gotta get out of here. They're gonna kill you.
On the way out. Again, Pretzi is still trying to get him to follow. We see Herc, though. He stops when he sees a forklift, the caged forklift.
Yeah, he just sees
He's
it.
like, this is an excellent chariot. Right? I must have it.
He just stops it with one hand. He's just like, where's the horses? This is a cool chariot. And the dude's like, get the fuck off me, man. Just to show his strength. Yeah. Just to show that he could stop
it. I could one arm hold it.
That was all it was.
Then we see Pretzi flag down a cab.
Hails the cab.
A rickety, messed up, I don't understand how it was moving cab. Did you see it? It was like
rust bucket
2 feet from falling apart. Right?
Yellow. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But so they hop in this cab, and when we're in the cab, we quickly learn from Pretzi that he apparently is just like a magnet to Greek gods.
Yeah, because he
says,
I knew a Greek fella. His name was Apollo.
Last name.
Used to own a beanery down in
a coffee
shop somewhere.
Beanery. I love that nickname for a beanery.
Name, though. Yeah, beanery for a coffee shop. We should bring that back. That's cool.
But yeah, he says no last name though, and Herc goes,
I know Apollo.
Yeah, he was gone about that time.
Yeah, he was gone about that time.
You're right.
For a couple of years. Real handsome guy, conceited as fuck.
And he goes, no. The guy I knew, he finally went home, and he wasn't.
He had a big wart and
mole,
big mole on his nose. And shit.
When you think about like a Greek guy in an old cartoon, again, the kind of stereotypes we don't do today, but that's what it would have been. He'd have been the olive colored skin, and he would have had a mole somewhere on his nose, and
little wispy, little beard.
And so that's what that's the description he's trying to give here.
And Arnold's just like, oh, he was in disguise probably.
Yeah, but he finally came home, and he was like, yeah, he always did tell me he missed home.
He always wanted a wife. Did he go home to get him a wife?
Every time that you're like, oh, it's not really Apollo, you're like, oh no,
maybe it is.
Arnold has the answer to be like, no, you're right. It was we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, it's the same guy. I remember that. I was pissed about it. He got to go. I didn't.
Pretty much.
Right? A going away party.
We see that again. I don't know if it's supposed to be that they're drawn to Pretzi, if Pretzi's drawn to them. Is he a Greek god who's been punished?
Mind wiped or something?
Is he Prometheus?
Maybe.
But so then, while they're in the cab, though, we see he tells us that it's his nickname because he's a pretzel vendor, but they make sure visually you know that. And he's not like a vendor as in he's got a booth.
No,
he's not a vendor as in he's got a cart. He's got a basket. He has a giant wicker basket full of pretzels. They're not even pretzels he makes. He even tells us right now he sources them from a place called
Food of the Gods Bakery.
Oh my God. That's what he says.
Super funny. He gives one to Herc and he eats one. He's like, Food of the Gods. He's like, that's funny. I get them from bakery called Food of the Gods Bakery.
Is it another real god?
Who's the god of bread?
Oh man, I don't know.
We'd have to look that one up.
I'm good. I'm not that good.
I'm sure there is one.
No, there definitely is one. These were the Greeks and the Romans. They did stuff like that.
There's a god for every blade of grass.
Then they get to Central Park. Finally,
Pretzi's
taxi cab is about to break down, which is why he kind of tells him that. Like, the dude pulls over. He's like, I'm having some problems. He's like, this is good.
It's sputtering, dude. This thing is ancient.
He gets out. There's this whole like argument about paying him.
Pay him $2.
Dough.
Yeah, give me the dough. What's all this talk about deer? Like, what are you all going on about?
I love that one. And I know it's because he said the dough after the bucks. But again, like, that's a very intelligent reference.
That is an intelligent joke.
Because he means, like, again, we spell it as in dough, like bread dough. Yeah, because that's what we mean. Bread.
Give me that bread, buddy.
Give me that dough. But since he heard buck first, he said doe, like a deer, like a female deer. I was like, oh, shut up. For a movie that is full of just dumb nonsense.
Dumb shit.
Like they tried to go top tier with that joke. And I was like, wow, guys. Wow.
I did appreciate that one.
It did kind of almost feel unsettling because of how dumb everything around it is.
His delivery, that accent.
That doesn't help.
What is this? All this talk of zoological animals.
But so they end up having to get into a fight. Again, because that's what this movie is, just fight.
We'll have it's just like set fight.
It's just like Hercules is a badass. He's going to fight. Yeah. And it's going to be pseudo-comical.
Hey, that cabbie grabbed him, dude.
Cabbie had it coming.
He did.
I'm not
grabbing
playing
people. I get he didn't have money. But
Herc straight up didn't. He said, I'm not even going to bother beating the cabbie up.
Right, just throws him off to the side.
He says, this is how you make your money. Let me not let you make your money. And flips this cab.
He should have just took it. He had Hercules in his chariot.
That's no.
He was immortalized.
Immortalized. I love when he repeated it. Yeah, when Pretzi said, "You've been immortalized."
But yeah, it's flipped. He did that for real.
Yes.
Right. Like there was no like.
Oh, he didn't need to.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, baby.
Prime. He just
like, oh, easy flip.
But so now they're at Central Park again. We have no Pretzi doesn't tell us anything about why they're here. They just needed to run, and they ran.
And they hold hands. Even did you notice that he's holding Herc's hand and stuff? And I was like, oh.
But so they're just walking through Central Park, and they decide, let's go look at the baseball fields. But when they get there, it's not a baseball team.
It's a bunch of Olympic college athletes,
track and field,
track and field.
Doing
that's
the
what it's
true
called.
Olympic games,
discus even.
Shot put.
I would have thrown discus. We didn't have that in our high school, did we?
We had track and field, and it would have had all of those.
Did it have discus and
yeah, we definitely would.
Oh well,
that's just part of track and field.
I should have tried harder in high school, just all around.
This is also now when we get introduced to the only other characters that are of any importance in the movie. Like most of the Greek gods are barely important.
Yeah, they're just kind of.
They show up for their one-off moment, and then that's it.
Please, Zeus, be nicer to Hercules.
But so we get Professor Camden.
Oh, is that his last name?
Yes, and his daughter Helen.
I only ever got him as the professor.
Professor
I missed them saying his actual name.
I think it was the very first time, and that was it.
Never say it again.
I promise you. I think that's it.
All right, cool.
So don't feel bad.
I just thought that it was like, all right, he's like Professor from Gilligan's Island. He's just the professor.
But so they're watching these college athletes play out on the field. Again, the baseball field.
Shouldn't they have their own place? They're a college team. Why are they in the Central Park baseball field?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe in the 70s, there are a lot of small universities in New York City because it's a large city. But even then, it just seems weird that they're using the baseball diamond.
Central Park should have like a track.
Well, it should definitely have at least clear field area to do some of it.
You are taking time from the baseball team, you
or
bastards.
The people who want to use the baseball field. It's a public park.
That's true.
Kids could be wanting to play baseball on that baseball diamond.
You don't see off cameras. There's like 10 kids just all sad looking through the fence. Just
Herc sees this though, and he was like, "These guys don't know what they're doing.
These guys suck.
They're doing it wrong."
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go show them how to do it. Pretzi's trying to stop him. Be like, no, outsiders aren't allowed. It's just for college kids.
You don't do that. He goes, but they're doing it wrong.
I can do it better. I showed them how to do it in Athens. They benefited.
That's what he tells the coach, and the coach is like, What? But the player goes, let him show us.
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe I can learn something. Herc throws this discus.
The entire fucking length of the field.
Like
it pings off of a lamp post.
Like it was nothing.
Just, there it goes.
Now the coach is invested, and he's like...
He looks at me, he's like, what else can you do?
He yells at his javelin man. He says, throw it.
Yep,
Show him. This dude throws the javelin. None of these players...
are bad.
Well, none of them are good. I'll say that.
None of them are breaking any records like they said, though.
No.
Because especially the dude after the javelin guy.
The jump?
The jump guy.
That was nothing.
Pitiful.
I could do better
I could jump further than that.
But before we get to that, I want to say that the javelin scene is fine. It's just like the discus scene. He just outdoes him. But it is the time where he just rips his shirt off.
Yeah.
For no reason.
It was restricting.
I guess, dude, if you ask me, he would have needed the shirt off more for the discus.
Probably, yeah.
Because you're spinning and you need that good, that
whoosh, that whip action with the arm.
I don't know.
I'm not an athlete. I'm just.
But
a guy
either
who
way,
watches
if
movies.
you ask me, it's weird that he did one event and then took his shirt off.
Yeah.
But this is the moment where we get the
pec flex,
the titty bounce.
He bounces them
the male titty bounce.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's truly amazing. No need to be there.
I want to be able to do it.
I don't.
Nope. Can't. I'm trying. All right. I give up.
He totally takes down everybody. The jump scene, though, like you said, is crazy.
Like 2 feet.
The guy barely went anywhere. And then they show him jump. And it's the best cutaway ever. They show him literally get to the air. So they told Arnold to jump as high into the air as you can.
Yep.
They filmed it from low enough
super low.
that he quickly was out of frame. And then they were instant cut. I mean, not even good cut. Hard cut.
Hard cut to the other side of the field. And then
him landing in grass.
Jump over the camera, I
guess.
Guess.
Had to have been. And you just see him almost gently hit the grass. Like it was a
pirouette.
Right? It
ballet
was
style.
So amazing. All the people, jaws to the ground.
Right. Arnold has killed the entire competition.
He
And fucking Pretzi's off on the sideline. He was making bets the whole time. He's like, I got 50
Collecting
bucks,
money.
man. He's got a big wad of cash. The professor comes up to him, is like, you and your buddy should come over for tea. And he's like, hey, man, chill. There might be cops around.
Had such a problem with getting tea. I know
Was that a thing? Some kind of drug in the 70s?
I don't know. It definitely was. I don't know what it is, and I've never heard it before. But the way he was reacting, like, there's no way it wasn't.
Asked him if he wanted to go do heroin out behind the building or something.
And then finally he was just like, I mean, nobody's ever asked me something like that before. When he realized it was for real tea. He was like,
oh,
I don't even know how to respond.
Yeah, I guess. No one's ever invited me for tea before.
Such a weird thing.
But then again, hard cut. A lot of these. Just immediate hard cut. Hercules has a nice spiffy suit. We're over at the professor's house. Maid's letting him in. And then they go in the lounge, I guess. Pretzi picks up the big deer antler, starts like picking his finger, scratching his back with it. Oh, he picks up the book. This is where he picks up the
he picks up
Greek
the book.
Mythology book.
He sees the name. He didn't think about it at first. And he flips a couple pages and he flips back like manically. What? And then he quickly gets interrupted because that's when Helen shows up and he's like shoves the book in his pocket. So he just steals a book from these rich people.
He did. He just stole their book.
Now, in all fairness, it was a paperback and these are definitely hardback people.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe it was the helps.
That book was definitely a gift.
It was the helps.
Yeah, it was the maids. It was her copy.
They were trying to educate her.
Yeah, well,
that was her Christmas present.
Her Christmas present.
Her Christmas bonus.
That's even worse.
This is the moment, though, it does bring up a thing that I want to mention. So in the 60s and 70s, was Hercules just not well known? Like, people didn't know?
It can't have been because Steve Reeves did like 8 Hercules movies from like the 50s.
But he tells 100 people his name is Hercules, and I think only like one in the whole movie is like, the god.
Like the god?
Everybody else is just like, okay, it's a weird name. I've never heard it before.
You must be Greek.
But
recognize it as Greek, though.
Nobody is like, again, I mean, you see Pretzi has absolutely, like, he sees it in the book, and he's like astounded to see the name of the book.
It's like, oh, that's my friend's name.
That's crazy. It's in this book.
Educational system, man, I swear to God.
It is very strange.
It is weird. It's the most famous guy in history.
Well, and again, like, as millennials, we grew up at a time where Hercules flooded pop culture.
We had cartoons, TV shows,
movies,
video games. Like, it was everywhere.
You know, when we got to that part of, like, history classes where we talked about, like, Greek myths, everybody
all knew
that story.
Yeah, because they were on TV.
The other ones might have been something new.
I know Aphrodite. She's hot.
But yeah, exactly, though. Like, I mean, it might have been the most superficial of knowledge, but they had knowledge.
You knew it.
These people,
like, oh, Ares, yeah, he's an asshole. I understand that.
These people have nothing. It's just like
Hercules, who
glossed over in their face. And we see this moment, though. Like we said, Helen showed up. That's why Pretzi had to hide the book. And when she shows up, Herc starts putting the moves.
Yeah, he does. He's just sitting there. He's just like staring at her.
You remind me of a goddess.
She's just like, okay.
That was quite a line.
That's
a line. Dude.
Yeah,
it worked. She's talking to him like it didn't, but you can see it all over
totally
her
worked.
face.
She's like, no one's ever told me I look like a goddess before.
And then
as
soon as she walks away, she's not like, it's not even supposed to. She's not out of the room. She's just not like within earshot.
Opens the door.
Pretzi walks over and acts like he was
being handsy or something. Like,
and I'm like, dude,
I actually found what Pretzi was saying more offensive.
Way more offensive. I was like, Pretzi, you calm down.
Right? He said, dame.
Yeah, I was like, he said she looked beautiful, like a goddess.
Yeah.
You're over here being like, leave that broad alone.
We don't talk to dames like that over here.
We don't say stuff like that.
You don't talk to a broad that way. It's like, you don't call them dame or broad.
Like, calm it down, Pretzi.
Right.
He didn't say anything offensive. When she comes up, he does get a little offensive the second time.
This went a little far, but this was a definite cultural thing.
It was a cultural thing.
And also another smart joke, really, but bit for the writer. Because as soon as Rob,
the classmate,
the dude who walks in,
one that he got bested in the discus.
Yeah, in the discus, he comes in and stuff, and he's just like, looks at Helen, he's like, oh, is this your lover? And then it's like, oh, dude, whoa, what are you doing?
That was the one. I'm telling you.
He tries to explain it.
He does.
He's like, what? A handsome guy and a beautiful woman are friends? It doesn't make sense for them not to be. You know, like, and that is such a Greek mentality.
Certainly a Greek god.
Yeah, mentality. I was like, all right, I get where he's coming from, but
yeah, that one was offensive. Yeah. But the thing is, when he says that one, Pretzi didn't seem to care. I don't understand Pretzi at all.
I don't either, but Rod was very offended and
Yeah.
tries to strike the giant.
You can't hurt a demigod.
I don't think you could hurt Arnold at this point. Like
I know, but I'm just saying, he is a demigod. You can't hurt a demigod.
he hauls off and punches him one time, hurts his hand, looks back at him, goes in for a second shot, and then Hercules is like, all right, I'm done with you, and goes and puts him in a big bear hug up on his, just cracks two of his ribs. They're all trying to get him to stop, and the maid comes in and is like, please, everyone stop doing what you're doing. And then again, awkward hard cut to Helen and Professor sitting at table. It's like, well, that was a weird day yesterday.
Before we get that conversation, I want to point this out. During the scuffle, Helen throws out a Mr. Hercules.
Oh, yeah,
And did you hear this? Pretzi's response to hearing Mr. Hercules was, no, that's his first name. And he did think Zeus was his last name. And then he also says, what was it? It's Zeus rhymes with booze, right?
His last name's Zeus. It rhymes with booze. I remember that now.
The main reason I want to point this out is, so was he just thinking, like, when he kept hearing him say son of Zeus, that maybe it was like how Scandinavians do it, and so it was just his last name,
Yeah, just
in
his
a
last
way?
name,
So he was
so
like,
instead
get
of-
it? He's Hercules Zeus?
Yeah, in Scandinavian, it'd be like Zeusson.
Something like
Something
that?
like that, yeah.
Is that what was going on here?
Maybe.
But
Could've been. He's from the old country. They're weird over there.
I mainly just had to point out how crazy it was, because it was this one, like, it stops everything. Like, he is like offended that she said
Right?
Mr. She goes,
No,
Mr.
no.
Hercules. No.
His last name is Zeus. Like
Hercules
booze.
is his first name, lady.
I think Pretzi likes booze a little too much.
Definitely he does, because we get this
Yeah, a
scene
little
later.
later, yeah.
Now we'll get to what you said. It's a hard cut. I don't even know if it's supposed to be the next night. I think it's the same night. It's just after
Just
they
later,
leave.
but it's awkward. It's just they're all doing the stuff. She offers tea, and then immediate hard cut
to after everything's over.
right. It's Professor and Helen just sitting there.
It's father and daughter having a conversation.
I like that Hercules guy.
Well, it's kind of weird, because she's saying in the very beginning of the conversation, she's not saying she likes him. She was saying how
He's a
awkward
barbarian. He's so
the whole thing was,
primitive
and then
and all this shit.
and then the dad's like,
well, I like him.
and I want to study
wanna
him more
study him.
closely. And then that's when she, in a very weird shift of behavior, gets a sly smile and says, he did ask me out to dinner. And the dad's like,
And what'd you say?
Well,
I would.
of course, maniacal
grin.
glint.
It's like, yeah, that was super weird. Just 30 seconds ago, you were like, I don't like him.
Like we had said, and I will even go ahead and say right now, they aren't. But this one scene will shape your whole view of them if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Because I thought they both had sinister intentions.
Right? I thought that they were going to like
Between her maniacal
him and like
smile.
we're going to take him down to the lab and Frankenstein him, right?
Yeah, between her maniacal smile and then his study
They
him
have
more
some
closely.
evil plan.
I was like, this is
We're gonna
nothing good.
steal- They're going to steal his godhood from them. That's a better movie, actually.
And again, I point out, that's not what's happening
No,
here.
she's just like, yeah, I get to
I
go.
don't want anybody to go into this thinking the same thing I did, because I
Yeah.
kept waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I was kept waiting
it will
for...
not drop.
Nope, never.
They are just good people. We all apparently just have our own thoughts about bougie people, like college professors and their bougie daughters, and we apparently put those thoughts onto.
Does
We
that make
projected. Projecting.
Does
That's
that
what it
make
is.
us bad people? We automatically assumed that the rich bougie people were going to do bad things.
But again, the looks,
They did though.
the phrasing,
The I want to study him.
the phrasing,
Come on,
and the looks.
I watch a lot of horror movies from back in the day. The evil scientist always says something like, I want to study him, or something like that. Or, I find him fascinating. Right?
Yep. Now we get hard cut again
Another one.
to date night.
Yep, they've already had the date. This is the end of it. They're like,
Yeah, well, they're taking a carriage ride for the
first
end.
line is she's just like, I had such a great time.
So it's carriage ride time.
And it keeps getting
This is
cut between them in the carriage and then security guard guy walking around the zoo.
This is so random, too. We're not going to go back and forth for every cut. We're just going to give you what's going on.
Yeah.
Bear escapes.
Bear escaped from the zoo.
This is definitely not a bear. This is the cheesiest bear suit I have ever seen.
I wrote in my notes, I was like, man in bear suit escapes. Help.
And it's so dark. They did not film this well.
No, they didn't.
You can easily, like, especially like in the scenes when the bear is like skittling away.
There's a scene where it's like standing on and waves at the camera.
You can barely
that
see
had to
it
have
too.
been just a shit take, right? That they put in because it's literally guy in bear suit waves at camera.
I have no idea what they're doing. They made a lot of interesting choices.
It was awesome. It was fantastic.
But so we know that the bear is on the loose. They're riding through the same area the bear is on the loose in.
And of course they meet.
Like perfectly.
Yeah, like
it's literally like
they make a T almost.
Yes, it's perfectly. It's a choreograph.
Yeah, the bear's coming from the north. They're coming from the south or whatever. Do that math. Bam.
And I am not joking, guys. They go into full on fight. And I don't mean, like, you know, they could have done this in a way where it's a bad suit, but they still could have at least had the guy pretend like he's an animal. Yeah. Right? No. This man then proceeds to stand up and like box.
And fight like a man. Right? The bear's sitting there juking back and forth.
This was the strangest
body slam
fight I have ever seen. And to know that they wanted it to be in bear.
Was the best part of this whole thing. She starts screaming and then stops and goes, "Well, beat him!"
Yeah, well, she turns into a true like cheerleader.
She starts cheering him on and then gets too excited and has the best feint I've ever seen. She goes, and then flops back in the carriage. I had to stop. I had to laugh for 5 minutes. It was so good. The cops show up right about that time.
Yeah.
He's famous now, man.
Yeah. We missed a couple of the funny lines on the carriage ride.
Oh, we did?
My dad, he's retired.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to see me leave. He makes it sound so good, right?
Yeah,
like,
so
he
nice.
likes me. He loves me.
My dad,
he didn't want me to leave.
Didn't want me to go. It's like, we're not going to talk about how he threw a lightning bolt at me.
And she's like, you know Mount Olympus? You're from Greece. Yeah. Oh, I know it.
I know it real well. It's very well. It's a very nice place.
She's like, the gods live there. So I've heard. Not great conversation.
No, but
they're kind of funny.
He's trying to play around it for some reason. Yes. Like the whole movie, he's been like super upfront about it, but now he's being
being coy. Now he's being coy. It's because he's on a date, man.
I'm being flirty.
Right? It's like his way of footsie.
I know you don't believe that I'm Hercules.
Now, because of the fist fight with the bear, though, is major news. People know
all
who
over
he
the
is.
Papers, man.
He gets approached by
what I have dubbed as Jack Palance meets Vince McMahon.
I'll give you.
They have made a baby and had this guy, this wrestling promoter.
He's a wrestling promoter.
Because wrestling's a lucrative business.
Mr. Dugan. That was his name, too.
Yeah, Mr. Dugan. That's a promoter's name.
It is. And so he's there to get him into wrestling. And that is the last we'll ever see of Mr. Dugan.
That is it.
He gets the one line. He gets to come in and be like, I'm going to get you into the world of wrestling.
We're going to make lots of money.
And we see some papers imply that he does.
There's like a card, like him and Brutus Beefcake or whatever.
And that's it.
And stuff.
We don't see a single wrestling match.
I would have loved that. If that was the rest of the movie.
Was the
wrestling stuff? That would have been fucking great.
No, we get nothing. We just instantly get that Mr. Dugan is gone, and now mob bosses show up to intimidate Pretzi. So did Mr. Dugan sell out Pretzi?
I guess that's
to the mob bosses.
That had to have been it. Or all they said is like, we saw your boy's last match. You're gonna sign this contract now, and we're gonna own him, and we're gonna make lots of money.
Now, where was he at? Where was Herc at?
Training.
You know what I mean? Though, like, shouldn't it have been as easy as Pretzi just yelling, "Hey Herc,
come deal with these dickheads."
But that's not what we get.
No.
And he makes the awful deal.
The two henchmen cracked me up. Every time the dude would say something, they'd just be like, yeah.
Now we get our first major time back to Mount Olympus.
Yeah, they go back and...
We've seen a couple of small ones. We've not mentioned
Mostly
them.
just it's Zeus being disappointed.
We've not mentioned anything. So we've not even told people that Zeus has been watching on
Spherovision
this whole time.
His magic crystal ball.
But again, that's all you get to see normally. Yeah. This is the first time that it's a substantial scene.
So if you pay attention, like more gods show up each time we come back to it to watch the show.
Because it's their television.
Yeah, they're bored as fuck. Hell yeah, we're gonna watch this.
But so we just quickly, every time Hercules has a moment, you just get to see like a quick like flash to them huddled around the sphere of vision. But this time we actually get a little bit of what's going on on Mount Olympus.
Yeah,
What the murmuring is.
Zeus is mad that he's a wrestler?
He's mad that he's using his powers.
Is that what it was?
Because Zeus wanted this to be a punishment, and he's not.
He's making himself famous,
He's making the best
asshole.
of it. Yeah. And so he's like, well, I'm not okay with this. And so he asks for Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Who shows up.
Bring me Nemesis.
Before Nemesis can get there, though, Mercury and every goddess, every female that is up there,
they all love her,
throw themselves literally at the feet of Zeus.
Please let Mercury go talk to him. Merc bring him back.
Don't send Nemesis yet. Give him a chance.
Just relax.
Just let Mercury talk to him.
That's most of their lines.
For the love of God, please.
Just
let him
chill,
talk.
just a little.
Just let him talk.
Put the lightning bolt down. He eventually agrees. He's like, fine. If you can't bring him back, Nemesis all the way, baby. And we're going to punish the shit out of Hercules, right?
Now we get what is, I guess, like another date with Helen.
Yeah,
right?
because they're
just tourist mode.
Touring.
This is
the Atlas statue.
Tourist mode Ken. Right?
Yeah, he's got a camera, a nice sweater.
He does totally what it looks
douchey.
like.
70s yuppie there.
It's crazy. While they're out walking around, right, though they walk past a movie theater sign for a Hercules movie,
and he flips out. He's like, "Who's this dickhead?"
Rips his shirt off.
That's not me. He doesn't look a thing like me. See? Check it out. Boom.
And you're just like, dude.
And she's all like, "Yo, you need to put your shit back on before we get arrested."
We get it. I love Insolent Imitator.
Right? Was that an actual movie? I've seen a lot of old Hercules movies.
Was.
I don't recognize the poster.
It probably was, but again, I don't know if they give you a good enough.
I couldn't see the actual
words and stuff. I don't know if you can get a good enough look at it to know for sure.
I'd like to find it, see if it's any good.
Then we see they walk up again, as if the joke about Hercules wasn't bad enough. They walk up to the Atlas statue in New York. You all know the wrought iron. He's holding
metal.
Up.
He's holding it up. It's
you've seen it.
Metal hoops making up the earth.
And he's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "It's Atlas." And he's like,
"It's a terrible likeness.
Doesn't look like Atlas.
Doesn't look a thing like him." And she's like, "I got to get a picture of this. It's so goofy."
He has acclimated to present day
You
very
used
well.
the camera fantastically, didn't he? And then he's like, "All right, now you get in there and look pretty." Snaps the picture.
What?
Were they supposed to be dating?
I think at this point, because again, we don't get time jumps here.
We
there
really
have
don't.
been.
But then, like, toward the end of the movie, she's just kind of like, yeah, her and that Rod guy are like, man, they were really cool guys.
I have no idea what's. She was going on dates. I don't know if dating, right? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Different. This is the moment though where we get one of our first flubs when they're at like ordering the food, right? Like he literally does a full messes up, catches it, says the line completely, but they left it all in the movie when they could have easily just snipped off the first part. Why?
I don't know. He also trips when they're walking around the fountain. He trips, almost falls.
This whole date was just a bad time.
He's messing up all over the place. Is that when
This is when Mercury shows up
in the helicopter?
This is so strange. Why does he show up in a helicopter?
Wanted to ride in style, man. Come in like Ric Flair, Starcade 88.
But when we see him leave,
he just jumps out the fucking window.
So why did a helicopter? I know we're jumping ahead and we'll go back.
It doesn't matter, but it's still.
I just gotta say,
no sense.
I didn't get it. But yeah, so he shows up and he shows up in style,
right?
Like I said, in a helicopter. He's wearing a nice suit. He immediately is just like knows where. I get it. I understand.
God mode.
Well, and it's Zeus. This sphere
he's
of
the
vision.
messenger god.
Well,
so
sphere of vision shows where, and he's Mercury, which means he can. He's like the Flash.
Yeah,
he's really fast.
He's got the little wings on his shoes.
But he literally does show up instantly. And he's just like, "Hey, let me ask you something."
Zeus wants you to come back, man.
Because he even says, "When was the last time you talked to my dad?" And he goes, 5 minutes ago.
You launched yourself into the helicopter and rode in.
Which almost would make sense for the guy.
Oh, the guy with the clipboard. Because
he looked at him like,
"Who the fuck? You weren't here a minute ago."
Maybe that is what happened.
Might have been. There's a scene missing.
We've got the explanation. But he is not successful. That's a long story short. Mercury shows up.
To be fair, Hercules was completely reasonable. He was like, "I will go back sometime."
Yes, no, I mean he had
not
an answer
right now.
He had an answer, and it was a decent answer. It wasn't like I hate him.
It wasn't like fuck Zeus and he can go suck a dick. I'm not ever going back. What's he gonna do? He's like, "Look, I'm having a good time. I'll come back and visit in a century or so." But so Mercury has to leave and
go back to tell Zeus.
He doesn't want to either. He's like, "Man, I'm gonna get in trouble."
Well, he even tried to mention like Nemesis is the next next thing coming.
Yeah, she's coming for you.
And
If you don't go with me, he's like, I don't care. I'm Hercules.
Well, he didn't even say I don't care. He said I don't believe you. He didn't believe.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, he said I straight up don't believe that Dad would be sending Nemesis.
Dad's not gonna do that.
How
he
wrong.
Loves me.
How wrong he was.
Oh, because Zeus is super pissed when he gets back. He's like, fine, bring her here.
Before we get there, we gotta talk about Pretzi, dude.
Oh.
Because Pretzi saw him.
Yeah,
like we said, Mercury. When Mercury leaves, he comes in on a helicopter like a normal guy. When he leaves, he just climbs out the window and jumps.
I forgot Pretzi was like drunk, kind of watching this whole conversation. Poor guy, he's got the whole bottle.
And
of
he
scotch
sees that,
and
and then he just passes.
He's just
out.
like, nope, can't handle that. Boom.
Sorry. Now we can get to Mount Olympus.
Herc was super nice, man. Like covered him up on the bed, turned the lights off and shit. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Now we can do Mount Olympus.
Now we can go back to Mount Olympus.
We don't need to do that yet anyway, do we? Before we see Mount Olympus, we see what Pretzi does. Pretzi runs to tell Professor
he
Camden.
goes and the next morning he runs and tells them he saw it. He just comes in.
Yeah, so after Pretzi passes out, we immediately see the next morning when he runs to Professor Camden to tell him about what he just saw. Another scene leading to why we might think there was sinister stuff going on. Because why did
are they all
why did he need to know
together?
Why did Pretzi have shocking and truly like life-shattering news?
I have to transfer this information now
to
the professor. What are you up to?
Right?
There's a conspiracy here.
Like I said, there's a reason why I felt like he wasn't.
No, you're totally valid, dude.
But the shoe just never drops. It's not what's happening here. They are definitely is a red herring through the whole movie for sure. They're just trying to trick you. But yeah, so Pretzi tells him, he's like, all this stuff happened, and the professor even calls him on it. Was there booze involved?
I might have had a snort.
He goes a snort, couple of snorts, a pint. All right, it was a fifth. Jesus Christ, dude.
God, man. That's why the professor's like, yeah, I think he might have just been drunk. You sure the guy didn't just fall out the window? Yeah, but he fell up. Yeah. I kept saying, he wouldn't jumped out the window and went up.
We see during this moment, because even Rob, the boyfriend, right? He was just
he's just there. So he's in on
or
the conspiracy.
Maybe boyfriend or whoever this guy is. Well, but again, this is also the moment where it gets really hazy on the conspiracy, because it's weird that Pretzi showed up, but all of these intellectuals in this house are all just professing how much they love Hercules.
Even Rod, who had his ribs broken. He's like, he's a good guy.
So it's like, are they bad? Are they not bad? I don't
think the writer could decide.
I don't either. I think he left it up to be a surprise for himself. He's like, when I get there, I'll get there.
I'll know.
And I'll know.
Now we go to Olympus.
And Zeus is mad.
Pissed.
He is very upset.
Super mad.
He cannot believe that this is still going on.
And Mercury even tries to explain. He's like, no, he wasn't a dick about it. He was like, he just wants to like visit.
I will hear none of it.
Nope. He disrespected me. He must pay. I will have Nemesis send him to Pluto's
underworld.
Hades. How was that hard?
Pluto's underworld.
I know.
As soon as Zeus says that he is sending Nemesis to take Herc down to Pluto's kingdom, we get a zoom in shot of Juno laughing.
She is so happy about this.
It's like orgasmic.
She's just like, yes, victory.
Just to immediately cut to
5
her
seconds later
talking to Nemesis and being like, no, but that plan's shit.
I got a better plan.
So you're going to do my plan. Nemesis even tries to be like, I
work for Zeus.
Zeus is my daddy, literally.
Yeah.
You're not my mommy, literally. I'm not going to do any work for you.
And blackmails her with something, doesn't she? How'd she convince her?
No, she just says, I am the wife. She just
pulls
hit,
rank. That's what happened. Yeah.
She just says, am I not literally this person, which makes me better than
you?
So you will do what I say. And
she says, my magic ring full of my
magic
powder.
Ring. It's a poisoner's ring. Why is Juno just rocking around with a poisoner's ring and acting like it is magical? She's like, I've got this thing.
Put this cocaine in his drink.
I just want you to walk over to his food and open it.
And it's literally what happens. It's
again,
like 2 seconds.
Another dark scene. Just so dark inside this restaurant, you can barely see anything.
If it wasn't for like the big ass TV I was watching it on, dude, I wouldn't have been able to tell it was even Hercules that the drink went to. You could barely tell.
It's so dark. I agree.
Terrible lighting in the bar scene that lasted 3 seconds.
Thankfully.
She poisoned him and then goes to talk to Pluto.
Yeah.
Because
there's more to Juno's
this plan. Yeah. She wants Juno to have Pluto try and not directly kill him, but have him killed somehow. So he'll go to hell whether he likes it or not. Permanently.
Not just for a year.
Yeah, not just for a year.
Or 100 years.
100 years. Yeah, it's 100 years.
It's a year to a god.
Yeah, it's like a week. What are you talking about? Like, you're grounded for a century. Oh, man.
And so now we know that there's this other plan going on that we don't ever really see any. There's never any active try to get him killed plan happening.
Not really.
The mob kind of is maybe. But even that part has very little to do with what Pluto actively did.
Yeah, all he does is make a bet.
Right? It's so strange. So weird.
It's super weird.
As soon as she tells the plan to Pluto, we see Pluto show up out of the subway to an entirely pitch black.
Yeah, because he doesn't like light. He just drains all the light out of it.
And he goes to talk to Hercules. So at this point, this wasn't part of the plan. So he's just trying to also be like, look, dude,
I don't want to do this.
Look, bro.
You're my boy. We had good times, right?
At one point,
I don't want to do this. Just sign the contract, come do your punishment for 100 years. It's all gravy.
But if not, I'm probably gonna
do what Juno wants me to. You're gonna go whether you like it or not, so just do this.
Herc is Herc, and Herc's like,
he even threatens him. He's just like, I'll beat your ass. And Pluto's like, I'm not afraid of you. Sitting there all like trying to like,
he goes, remember, you're only half god.
Comparing his arm to Hercules.
I'm a full god. I'm not afraid.
Like, I'd still take you, right?
Juno also already knows
that he's been poisoned.
So
my powers, no.
Even though at no point do we see like a revelation from Herc that has happened, right? Like there's never a point where you see his face go, I don't have them
taken.
Even when he realizes like he can't do something.
Yeah, when he can't, he doesn't the weightlifting thing.
He doesn't have a facial reaction of like,
I've lost my powers. It's just like, I couldn't lift that. I don't know why.
Right? That's it.
Puzzlement.
So yeah, Juno caused all of the issues by poisoning him. Pluto is now leaving because
he didn't take his offer. He's got to go do something else.
And that's just what it is.
So now we're going to go talk to the mob guys. He goes to place the bet on Hercules to lose, right? That's what he bet on, was for Herc to lose 20 grand.
Yeah.
And the mob's like, guy's an idiot. He's not going to lose. He's just going to lose all his money and all this stuff. Something plunger. I can't remember what he called it.
It's a long shot plunger.
There it is. Long shot plunger. Okay, sure, whatever. They don't know, the poor bastards.
At this point, though, he's making a bet. And as far as we know, it's still wrestling.
Yeah, when we haven't been told it's a weightlifting competition.
Well, and what's weird is again, this is one of those like maybe somehow ended up out of order when they put the movie together, right? Because
could have been.
We know that he made the bet, but we don't hear the news report about the fact that it's going to be weightlifting and therefore when the challenge was put out until the next day.
Yeah, somebody messed up.
Right? So we should have heard the news report first.
And then the Monstro challenged him.
Yeah, and then seen Pluto make the deal.
Yeah, that's how it should have went.
So no matter what, there's just an issue.
Yeah, the movie
put a very big issue, plot hole. Right. You could drive a semi through right here. But either way, we now know that there is no wrestling.
Nope.
There is weightlifting.
Switched.
With a dude named Monstro.
Monstro the Magnificent.
This is when the movie actually throws out the word strongman. Because Monstro is a carnival strongman.
Yep.
And that's why we're doing the weightlifting. Because he wants to do a true strongman competition.
Because, he might get hurt doing wrestling.
Yeah, so we then get to take a look at Monstro the Magnificent right before they start their weightlifting. This is still so random because they do this like this is like
on TV even.
Well, and they do this like this is a competition that people know, and it's not like a real strongman competition. It's literally just
two guys gonna lift some weights.
Here's some some bells. Here's some bars full of weights. Right. Just start lifting.
We're just gonna lift it up over our heads, man. How else do you prove how strong you are?
So first we see Monstro and Herc. They drop 500 like it's nothing. Both of them. Not a problem. And we see 750. Hell of a jump. They jump 250 pounds.
Jeez. They jumped a whole like two people.
It's insane. Monstro struggles a little bit. On the 750. He does. He does the 1,000 easier
than he did the 750. He just launched the 1,000 up there, dude.
I was like, what is this?
He didn't have a wide enough base on that one, I bet.
Now Herc on the 750, he feels it.
Yeah.
You see they show us the veins.
The big vein.
So that way we can tell that he's actually
struggling to actually do it.
And so it's like,
unlike he usually would.
Again, this is my point though. There's no shot. There's no moment where Herc is like,
of like, this should be easy.
There's no like Herc doesn't, I don't know if he ever realizes his powers were gone, right? Like, I mean,
I don't think he does.
because he wasn't doing anything that needed them until right this second.
Yeah. After this, it's just kind of like Pretzi's kind of like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I couldn't lift it. It's like my strength left. That's it.
He barely even says that, like, because as soon as he doesn't do it,
my strength didn't work or something.
it really, what I mean is he says it. I'm not saying he doesn't say it, but as soon as he says it, they don't even get to acknowledge it, because Pretzi's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. The mob is gonna kill us.
Because we just lost them a fuck ton of money. Because when he can't get the 1,000 up, that one dude's just like double cross.
Yeah, and so that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even matter.
We didn't have time to acknowledge it.
Yeah, it's as soon as he says it, it's like, oh, we gotta run. So he doesn't have time to be like, I wonder why.
Yep, and they bolt, and so does Helen and the professor, because Helen realizes it too. She's like, oh shit, that's bad. We gotta go.
And they happen to be in between Pretzi and Herc and the mob,
and they
like perfectly in between.
The mob thinks
like they can see Herc and Pretzi, and the mob can see them.
So they think that Herc and them have gotten in the same car, and they're like, they're hiding in the floorboards. I guarantee it. And they chase after the professor.
We
and
get
Helen.
the craziest car chase.
It goes on forever though,
because it is 4 different cars, right?
It's the professor and Helen in a car. The mob are all in like a station wagon, and then
a stagecoach, a chariot.
They jump in a chariot
that was being driven by Tarzan,
who was getting a hot dog, and they chase after the chariot, and the hot dog guy is chasing after
because
the Tarzan.
he wants to get the sauerkraut.
Give him the sauerkraut. He gets it to him eventually. He followed him the whole way, and he's like, "Your sauerkraut, man," and puts it on the hot dog. I skipped some stuff.
Well, I mean, did you though?
Not really.
I was gonna say
they drive literally all over Central Park.
If you've watched any 70s car chase, you know what this is. It's just constant like spinning shots. It's constant like
the chariot gets chased by a little dog.
Yeah, the chariot is the only thing that's different in this.
It was funny. It loses a wheel though.
The only thing that I want to point out that's really great in it is at one point when the mob gets close to the chariot and Herc starts whipping him with the horse whip. That was a good one.
That was good. Ben-Hur action there. But then the chariot loses its wheel.
The chariot just breaks down.
Right next to Professor and Helen, so they just jump in their car and drive off.
No, they were a little bit further away.
Oh,
they pull up right beside them. They're honking as they pull up. They're like,
come on, get in.
Yeah, exactly. Get in. But I will point out, this is like the same baseball diamond that they were fucking in earlier.
There's only like 4 actual filming locations. They just use them over and over again.
Then now we get those guys are driving, Helen and the professor, they drive and just randomly stop outside of a building. Random building.
A random ass building. Come on, let's go hide in here.
Why?
I don't know. Why didn't you keep driving? I would have kept driving.
I didn't understand this. Again, the movie needed to wrap up, and they were like, look, we need them to go somewhere. Just have them get inside.
In a paper box mill.
This is what it looks like. There's definitely it's like a weird paper storage room for sure.
Because it's got these big giant
reams of
paper everywhere.
And so now is when the movie gets, I can't even say gets off the wall, because it's all been off the wall, but now is when it just completely, like, they were like, again, we need this movie to end soon, so let's just find a way to make it end, right?
Yeah.
So they're fighting the mob.
Yeah, Herc's getting his ass beat
because he has no powers. Again, he is a massive dude, so he should be able to stop this. Before we do our cut, he's a massive dude. Sheer power, sheer size shouldn't have been a problem.
Because these are just like 150-pound dudes. Like,
these are just a bunch of overweight, over the hill mobsters. Italian guys. Yeah. I think he can take them, right? I think they got it.
Herc should have been able to handle all of them even without his powers.
The professor should have been able to handle half of them.
The professor should have been down there Breaking Bad, right? With that cane, bam.
Pretzi could have got 1 or 2 going for the knees.
Go for the knees.
I'm just saying, it shouldn't have been that hard. But you're right. We get a cut to Mount Olympus. Venus and Mercury are like talking to each other, and Venus is like, I got a plan.
We can send help.
She's like, I got an idea. We'll use your speed, and I'll tell you who to take.
Yep. You go and get Atlas and Samson and take him down there to help him, and then literally they cut to, there they are. They're there. Boom.
I don't know which one's Atlas and which one's Samson.
I want to think.
I'm going to assume
the one that's all like super ripped.
That's actually muscle bound?
That one's Atlas.
No, that one's Samson. Do you know why I think that?
Really?
The statue looked like that guy. And he said, that doesn't look like Atlas.
Doesn't look like him at all.
The other guy looked like your traditional, like, actual strongman, right?
Like Don
carnival.
Morocco.
Well, he looked like a carnival strongman.
Yeah, with the big
where
barrel chest.
You're actually strong. You're not muscle, right?
Yeah, that guy's Atlas.
Because literally he told us.
Samson's the pretty boy with the hair. That's right. Nope, makes even more sense. Forgot my mythology for a second. Good job.
Now, I will also point out then, now that we know which one we want to call which, that the guy who was Samson, now that we agree that that's Samson, looks like a tiny Lou Ferrigno.
He does. It's a mini Ferrigno.
Right? That's exactly.
He even poses like him.
I was like, every time I'd be trying to be like, can I get a better look at this guy's face? Because I swear to God, this is Lou Ferrigno.
Paint that motherfucker green. I swear it's the Hulk.
Right? I swear. That's all I kept thinking. It's not. At least as far as I could tell.
It's his brother. It's
Something,
his little
dude.
brother.
I mean, they're all in the same, they were all weightlifting together.
Yeah, they're all
sure.
weightlifting. Those were definitely just some of Arnold's weightlifting friends.
But yeah, so they get called in. They help. They beat
the shit out of everybody.
And then Zeus is like, get him out of there. And so I guess they leave. We don't even get a clear enough.
They do.
We don't get a clear enough shot to know, though. That's my point. He says, get them out of there. But in the same conversation he's saying, get them out of there, everybody talks some sense into him and are like, you should give Herc his powers back. And so he gives Herc his powers back. And the scene in which we see him get his powers back and he pushes the reams of paper over is at an angle where you can't tell.
No, it can't.
If Samson and Atlas are supposed to still be there. And as soon as he pushes the reams,
they just chilling. They just put their feet up.
Well, and again, as soon as he pushes the reams of paper over on the mobsters, it's a hard cut.
It's like the end of the
to the roof of the Empire State Building.
Empire State Building.
No explanation for anything. Hard cut from there. Again, nobody has made the vocally the revelation that he had lost his powers
or got them back. Nothing.
It's just a beautiful moment between two friends.
Yeah, Pretzi and fucking Herc, they're up there.
Herc's in his tourist kin mode again.
Turtleneck.
He's got the camera.
Looking spiffy, man.
Weird. And then
Pretzi's trying to have he's too cheap to put a dime in the fucking
Pretzi's trying to have a real conversation with him about some shit.
About some
looking
stuff.
off the side.
Man, I can see the river. It's so beautiful up here. It's too bad it's kind of cloudy. Turns around.
He's gone.
He's gone. Where the fuck did he go?
Because while he was busy talking to him,
Herc went to apologize to his dad. He had to be up high.
It was barely an apology. Yeah, again, why they had to do it there, the only thing the only conclusion we can come to is that it had to be somewhere tall.
So he could get above the city noise so Zeus could actually hear him. It's the only reason we could come up with.
Because if not, I don't understand why he waited for his fun friend date with Pretzi to do this.
I wanted him to have a good day before he just vanished.
Then couldn't he have let it finish?
That's fair too. He could have told him he was gonna fucking be like, look, I gotta go apologize.
Instead of being like, oh, Pretzi, you live in the city and you've never been on this Empire State Building before, let me take you, and vanish in the middle of it. So now you'll never have a good memory of the Empire State Building again. All
you'll think is the day I lost my best friend. He vanished on me.
I don't know. He may have jumped. They might have been covering it up.
I don't know. I went to the morgue. I looked. I couldn't find him.
You get my point?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
But he does. He leaves. He goes back home. In a weird... Maybe he apologized. I still don't even know if he apologized.
He said that Zeus was smarter than him and he was ready to obey.
That's an apology I would say he brown-nosed. I wouldn't say he apologized.
All Zeus ever wants. Just kiss his ass a little bit, little baby powder on the bum, and off we go.
And you'd think this was the end of the movie.
You would think.
But we get one more scene. No, it's not a Arnold. He's not a star yet.
Nope.
Well, it is of Arnold.
Hey, Arnold. It's Mr. Stang.
It's Pretzi.
It's Pretzi.
Our last scene of the movie is Pretzi.
He goes home.
He's at home. He's depressed.
My buddy's gone.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Shucks.
And then all of a sudden he turns on the radio and he hears a voice talking to him that is clearly...
It is not Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice.
And then so I don't know if this is the dubbed voice.
I don't even know if it's a dubbed voice. It sounds mechanical, like some kind of really early form of voice.
But he hears he hears a voice over the radio and it's supposed to be Herc. And he says it is. He says he recognizes it.
My little friend, we have had so many good times together. It's really bad kung fu movie voiceover.
And it's such a cheap, cheesy thing to tell him too.
It really is.
Because he was literally just sitting there being like, I got the raw deal here.
I'm never gonna see you
good
again.
Friend. But really I kind of was like, it's kind of fucked up because he is both lamenting the fact that he lost a friend and a money source.
Yeah, because he was making a shit ton of money off that wrestling.
Yeah. Wrestling.
I'm very sorry.
That is the end of our movie. It was this weird conversation.
No, it's not. He goes in Zeus.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. We get our setup. For the sequel that never happened.
That we need. I'm here for it.
Zeus hears the story from her about what
he
it was
was
like,
doing.
even though he didn't need to hear the story.
He watched it.
He watched all of it on Spherovision.
Spherovision, man.
He knew.
You would think that would be in 3D even.
But so after the story is done, he dismisses everybody.
He's like,
he
I wish to be
sends them
alone.
away.
Even Juno, his wife, he's like, oh, ta-ta, yes.
And then he breaks the fourth wall, looks at us.
Like, kind of winks at us, takes the crown off.
Sits it down. And then the next thing we see is him floating past an airplane.
If you look, it's the same old lady
And
as
he's
before.
rocking
Hawaiian shirt. He's got the little bowler hat. He's just like, ah.
I wish we had seen again. They wanted this.
I want Zeus in New York.
I want
Zeus
this movie
in San Francisco.
Just anything.
There
dude.
we go.
Give me this sequel. I will watch it. Even today. Even like this is
Dude,
what.
That's a good indie film right there.
Someone contact Arnold.
Yeah, cameo, right?
He
can
Zeus.
play Zeus now. He's old. Don't hurt me. I'm sorry.
Well, that is officially the end of the movie.
Yeah,
this
that
time,
is.
guys.
It even says the end. We get the end.
And there's no credits. So
No,
there's
that's it. It just ends.
Bo
Black
didn't have to
screen.
worry about missing
Thank fuck, dude. It's like this 2 in a row, man.
There was a post-credits scene this time, but it was literally just an hour and 25 minutes worth of the movie since the credits were in the beginning.
It was a long post-credit scene, but I stuck through it.
On to the beer.
Onto the beer.
This was amazing.
I love this. We're going to get more next time we go back to the store just for funsies.
Yeah, this was delicious. It's definitely coffee. It's a milk stout, so it's got that nice like creamy texture in your mouth. You know,
goes
like
down nice and easy.
It's so good. It's dangerous good, right? It's not super strong. I'll say that.
No, it's only what
You get coffee stouts. It's 5.3.
5.3.
You get coffee stouts. Stouts are usually like 6.5, 7, somewhere on the upper end. I think we've got one on the.
We got a 12 one time.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got one on the deck that's like 11 or something.
Oh shit!
Coming up soon.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time that day.
So I mean, again, this one's a little bit of an outlier. So you could drink a little bit of this
you
one.
could drink a few of these
without having to like worry about getting yourself too
We
roughed
got
up
the
to drive
talls
home.
even.
Talls? But yeah, it's definitely good. I definitely recommend it. Way to go, High Wire.
Go High Wire. Strongman Coffee Milk Stout. Go try it. High recommend. Top tier.
All right. What about next week though?
Next week, we're going to be doing Avery Brewing's Little Rascals Session Belgian Style White Ale. There's your clue. Should be an easy one.
Yeah, Little Rascal. That's the thing to focus on.
Yep,
the rest of that's just a description of the type of beer. That's next week.
Everybody make your guesses. You know where to do it. You know how to play this game by this point. We look forward to playing it with you.
That's right. That's everything.
All right, cool. I'm sorry. I may have sold you to the mob. Nemesis.